Hey guys, Jam here, and welcome back to another Community Army Kitbash. And as always, voted by you guys, this week we're going to be doing a Dark Angel Librarian. As you can see on this poll, it was pretty close, but yeah, Dark Angel won out, and I'm actually kind of happy it did because there's this bit of artwork I've really liked for a long time, and I kind of feel like it fits in with the Dark Angel aesthetic. I don't actually know what chapter this Marine belongs to, so I should have the picture on the screen right now. But I've always wanted to kind of replicate it or just do something inspired by it. So yeah, that's what we're going to try and do today. Alright, so one of the first things you'll notice in the picture, and one thing that really sets it apart, is the fact that he's not holding a weapon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the sword arm, I'm going to slice the sword out and try and replace it with a hand. So as you can see here, I'm just kind of gently slicing down the hilt first, the one that's kind of attached to the wrist, because we want to try and save the sword as much as we can for maybe future Kitbashes. So I'm gently just going to work my way around there and try and keep things intact and as in shape as possible. And there we go, we got the sword out pretty well actually. It seemed to come out pretty clean, and I mean with a bit of fixing and stuff we can maybe use that hand and that sword again in the future. But now we just got to do a bit of a dry fit with the hand, kind of shave the hand down, shave the wrist down, just kind of go back and forth until the hand's in the kind of shape that we want. Alright, so once I kind of got the wrist and the hand fitting the way I wanted, you know, shaving it down and going back and forth with some dry fitting, I glued the arm on just so it's in place and everything, let it dry for a little bit, and then it's just time to slap the hand on. Oh, and one thing I should have mentioned before as well, the hand is just from one of the Primaris intercessor arms or something like that. I can't remember the exact one, but if you've got loads of Space Marines around, I'm sure you'll have some sort of open hand like that somewhere. And there we have it, we've got the hand on, it's in the right position, and I think it turned out pretty sweet. It definitely helps change the model up and give it a different vibe. And recently I've really started to like the look of librarians, maybe not having like swords or axes or something, maybe giving them a staff or like this, just like using their hands. It gives them a different vibe because every single model in the game has a gun or an axe or something. This helps librarians look a bit more space wizardy, I think. You can get that magic vibe instead of them swinging an axe around. But don't get me wrong, I'm definitely going to make a space wolfy dude with an axe at some point as well because it just looks badass. So last step we've got to do ready for this arm is chuck on a shoulder pad. Now I've chosen this one out of the Dark Angels upgrade sprue, the old one. So I feel like that riveted kind of rim around there gives it that knightly vibe, old school kind of thing that Dark Angels have. And also it fits nicely with the Death Watch shoulder pad as well. And the next step that I kind of jumped on here was just gluing on the purity seals and stuff that you get in the actual kit. So I feel like librarians, well, purity seals and parchments make sense, and of course they look really good on Dark Angels as well. So nothing fancy there, just gluing them on where they're supposed to go. Next up is the head. Now I've chosen this head from the Death Watch Kill Team box, mainly because it's the only hooded head I could find. Now this head is actually quite a bit smaller than your usual Space Marine or Primaris head for some reason. I don't really know why, but I think it'll fit in alright. And I mean, I could green stuff like a hood over a more shouty face, but I feel like this one still works pretty well for a Dark Angel. Alright, so the next thing that really stands out in that artwork I showed at the beginning is his backpack has these like flaming braziers, or however you say that. And now if I wanted to put them on, I could cut these off of the Sister of Battle model, and I think that it will look absolutely incredible on there. Or I could buy the Salamander's upgrade sprue. But for a video that I've actually got coming out in about a week or two, I bought some resin candles. And then it got me thinking, you know, Dark Angel's got that old school knightly vibe. You know, you got the librarian, wizardy dude, you know, candles go pretty well together with all that. So yeah, all I'm going to do is glue these bad boys on with some super glue, and we'll come back to it later to actually blend it in and make some wax and stuff with green stuff. And another thing that's pretty Dark Angel-y, and that artwork had on as well, he's got a skull kind of strapped to his belt buckle-y area. So yeah, I just found this bad boy lying around in my bits box. All I previously did with this was get some sewing thread, get it into the position that I wanted, and then just kind of rubbed super glue across it so it's stuck on. It's a really nice way to get some detail work in there so it looks like something's actually holding it onto the belt, if that makes any sense. And yeah, all I'm going to do is stick it on there. Pretty easy. So next up in that artwork, the guy's got his rune sword strapped to his backpack. Now obviously when you actually try to stick a sword on the backpack it looks terrible, but I'll get into a place that it works. But I found this sword, I think it's from the, well, one of the Slaves to Darkness kits, but you can also use the sword from the new Primaris Lieutenant, the one from the Indomitus box, he's got a sword like that as well. So he's got the sword and the sheath together, which is a pretty rare thing to find in 40k. But yeah, obviously the only thing I'm going to have to do here is cut some of the points of the arrow going down the middle because, you know, that's a bit too chaosy. So yeah, I'm just going to snip that down, glue it on in the back, and I think it turns out pretty sweet. Alright, so now for one of the last things to do, and possibly one of the most complicated ones depending on your skill of kit bashing and converting, we got to do the wax for the candles. So as you can see, yeah, I've got myself a ball of green stuff. I just went 50-50, nothing too special there. Then all you want to do is cut a little bit off like the edge of the corner or something like that. Then take that small piece and start kind of rolling it out into a little sausage-like thing. But as always, make sure you keep your surface, your tools, your hands and everything wet. So keep a pot of water nearby. Also, I apologize if there's any sort of shaky camera here because I kind of zoomed in and I didn't realize I was rocking the table when I was kind of rolling this out. But yeah, then all you want to do is cut like little bits at a time. You don't want to take the whole thing up, and just get your toothpick or whatever. I definitely recommend using a toothpick and make sure it's wet, and just place it at the bottom of the candle. Then literally all you want to do is start like kind of flattening it out, pressing it in. Like I've got a bit of a gap, so I'm filling that gap up as well. And as you're pressing it in, also the green stuff, little sausage you made, will stretch out, so it could actually go almost all the way around depending on how long you've cut it off. But yeah, right now all we're doing is getting it in to the rough shape that we want, and then later we're going to start smoothing it out and getting some proper little drips going down and stuff. And then another thing you can do, if you want to make kind of like longer wax strips, you just take a very small bit of green stuff and just kind of place where you want the drip to be and just kind of work that in as well. So once you do have it all in the place that you want it, you want to like just use your toothpick or your hobby knife, whatever, just pull some of the green stuff down so it looks like some of the wax is running down. Then like next to that, maybe push some up and stuff like that just to alternate it. You got some like higher bits and it's just kind of waving around because obviously wax drips in random kind of ways. And once that's all sorted and in the place you want, then you just want to get an old paintbrush, make sure it's wet, and just kind of run it up and down and kind of pushing it into the crevices. It's basically just smooths it out so you don't get any like rough, sharp kind of corners and stuff like that. It just gives a nice smooth look and it looks really great for it. So yeah, all I do is the exact same thing for the other side. Just make the little ring around, get it roughly into the shape that I want, make sure I got some drips going down, you know, feathering it out so it goes from like thick to thin, and then just smooth it out with a wet paintbrush. It's really that easy. Just make sure when you add on extra drips to go down the sides and stuff like that with your green stuff, don't do it too thick. I think I did some of them thick but I went back with my hobby knife and kind of split them in half and stuff like that, because you just got to remember you got to keep it in scale. The drips would be really, really small, not big, thick chunks. And there we have it, guys. He's pretty much done. All I've done now is add one purity seal to the chapter badge pauldron thing, and yeah, he's done. Now I haven't glued him to his base or anything yet because I'm gonna painting under the robes is difficult and all that. But yeah, I'll quit jibber jabbering for the minute and I'm gonna cut to a proper twirly little showcase for you guys. So there we have him in all his glory. Now I actually really enjoyed this one. I think there's a lot of simple kit bashing things going on here, but I don't know, for me personally, I just really enjoyed this model. I feel like it turned out really well. So you guys let me know what you think. Do you like the way it turned out? Do you think he looks Dark Angel-y enough? Does he look like he's pumping out some sweet warp lightning or something like that? I think I like the whole two hands kind of thing going on as well. I don't know, it feels kind of weird saying I like my own kit bashes, but sometimes they just turn out really well without much work. But yeah, as always guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, the subscribe and all that, because I will be releasing a lot more kit bash videos like this. Obviously, that's kind of what I do these days. But I have another collaboration kit bash coming out in about 2 weeks time, and I think that one turned out pretty nice as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. And as always, I've got a Patreon account if you guys want to help support the channel, help me keep my bits box full. And of course, I've got a merch store as well, so if you're interested in any stuff like that. But yeah, until the next video guys, bye bye.